जय गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधमाधव कुञ्जविहारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 47. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीमुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 47. आहाराजा धर्मसुतास्
आहाराजा धर्मसुता
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम्
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम्
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रा
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
आहाराजा धर्मसुतास्
आहाराजा धर्मसुता
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम्
सुहृदां
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रा
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
आहाराज धर्मसुत
आहाराजा धर्मसुता
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम्
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम्
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रा
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः आहाराजा धर्मसुता
आहाराज धर्मसुत
चिन्तयन् सुहृदं वदाम्
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम्
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रा
प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः
आहाराजा धर्मसुता
आहाराजा धर्मसुता
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वदम्
चिन्तयान् सुहृदं वदम् प्रकृतेनात्मना विप्रः स्नेहमोहावशं गतः word to word meaning. Aha said, Raja,
Radha,
King Yudhishthira,
King Yudhishthira,
Dharmasutaha,
Dharmasuta,
the son of Dharma, Yamaraja,
the son of Dharma, Yamaraja,
Chintayan,
Chintayan,
thinking of,
thinking
Suhridam,
Suhridam,
of the friends,
of the friends,
Vadham,
Vadam,
killing,
killing,
Prakritena,
Prakritena,
by material conception only,
the material conception only,
Atmana,
Atmana,
by the self,
by the self,
Vipraha,
Vipra,
O Brahmana,
O Brahmana,
Sneha,
Sneha,
affection,
affection,
Moha,
Moha,
delusion,
delusions,
Vasham,
Vasha,
being carried away by,
being carried away by
Gataha,
Gata,
having gone.
having gone.
Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Yudhishthira, the son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak. King Yudhishthira, son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak. Purport: King Yudhishthira thought he was not expected to become aggrieved like a common man, became deluded, though he was not expected to become aggrieved like a common man, became deluded by worldly affection by the will of the Lord, just as Arjuna was apparently deluded. A man who sees knows well that the living entity is neither the body nor the mind, but is transcendental to the material conception of life. The common man thinks of violence and non-violence in terms of the body, but that is the kind of delusion. Everyone is duty bound according to one's occupational duties. A Kshatriya is bound to fight for the right cause, regardless of the opposite party. In such a discharge of duty, one should not be disturbed by annihilation of the material body, which is only an external dress of the living soul. All this was perfectly known to Maharaj Yudhishthira, but by the will of the Lord, he became just like a common man. Because there was another great idea behind this delusion, the king would be instructed by Bhishma, as Arjuna was instructed by the Lord himself. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Raghunatanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Raghunati Tvam Vishakhanvitamshcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Guru Dev Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwara. Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, their lordships, and acharyas to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam for my own purification, for the pleasure of the devotees and their lordships. So, we are reading chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 8, 48, text 47. The chapter, its name is Prayers by Queen Kunti. So, just a background. So, the Canto 1, we are still trying to get started with Srimad Bhagavatam narration, which is going to be done by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj in the future. Almost starts in the beginning of the second canto. So in this, we have some background of that entire birth of Parikshit Maharaj, and that's what we are seeing particularly in this chapter. So Parikshit Maharaj was the son of Uttara and Abhimanyu, and the grandson of Arjuna. And so in this chapter, the chapter begins with how Uttara was Ashwatthama sent Brahmastra to kill the last descendant of the Pandavas, who was in the womb of Uttara, that was Abhimanyu's son, to be Parikshit Maharaj. And Uttara comes praying to Lord Krishna for protection, and Lord Krishna, in the Paramatma form, protects the embryo inside the womb, and Parikshit Maharaj gets to watch that amazing protection. And after that, Krishna decides to leave to Dwarka. He has been in Hastinapur for a very long time, for the entire period of Kurukshetra battle, and even prior to that. He gets going, and so that's when Queen Kunti starts to pray to him. And prayers of Kunti, as we all know, it's one of the very popular prayers, and which covers a lot of gist and summary of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, which is why it is emphasized so much. And even prior to this, actually, the Pandavas go and offer oblations to all of their friends and family members. And Kurukshetra battle was has been quoted as one of the largest battles in the history, where millions of people were killed. And so it was a very painful moment that the only people that survived the battle were the Pandavas, and everybody else was killed. So they offer oblations, and then that's when Krishna decides to leave to Dwarka, and Queen Kunti tries to convince him to stay back. And then in this, she completes her prayers. She talks about various aspects of Krishna and how they would want to get more association of him, and how he was so protective in every phase of their life. Now we are seeing the connection where Yudhishthir Maharaj will be taken now to Bhishma Pitamaha, who is almost at the verge of leaving his body, and he's waiting. He was hit by the arrows, and he's waiting on the bed of arrows for Uttarayana Punyakala, where he had this boon where he could quit his body at a certain time, and he's trying to make use of that boon by quitting his body at an auspicious moment in the presence of Krishna. And this is where Yudhishthir Maharaj will be taken to Bhishma, where he's going to preach a lot of different things. So in this verse, King Yudhishthira, we are seeing how Yudhishthir Maharaj, the son of Dharma, who's Yamaraj, he was overwhelmed by the death of friends. So I'm going to speak about three aspects here. So number one, the son of Dharma is overwhelmed by the death of his friends. He's a Kshatriya, and he's overwhelmed by the death of his friends. And secondly, he's aggrieved like a common man, materialistic man. So where he is unable to differentiate what is right and wrong for him, similar to what happened to Arjuna at the time of Kurukshetra battle. And then thirdly, he's deluded by affection, and then he begins to speak. And in this we see the purpose of why all these things are happening. And then we'll see some take-home points from this. So, Yudhishthir Maharaj, as the son of Dharma, was known for his righteousness, and he gets quoted in every single situation. Now, he was a Kshatriya, and Kshatriyas, everybody has occupational duties. So we understand the occupational duties of Kshatriyas. It's their valor, their ability to fight with the opponent, no matter who he is, and then to not run away from the battlefield at any context of time. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18:43, we learn about the qualities of Kshatriya. So 42-43, we learn the qualities of Brahmana and Kshatriya. So the entire society, Jai Shri Radha Kunja Bihari ki Jai, Jai Shri Bhagavad ki Jai, Jai Shri Jagannath Bhagavan. So Bhagavad Gita chapter, text 43 speaks about Shauryam Tejo Dhriti Daksha Yuddhe Chapi Apalayanam Danam Ishvara Bhavascha Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam. So heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity and leadership are the natural qualities of work for Kshatriyas. So Kshatriyas are supposed to be heroic, and they are not supposed to run away from the situations out of any compassion, because the situations of battle is always a fight between righteous and the wrong deeds. So they're supposed to take the side of the righteous and then fight and do their duties, their occupational duties. But in this situation, Yudhishthira, who is very well aware, all his life is lived following righteousness, dharma, which is why he was known. There are so many instances where Yudhishthira performs extraordinarily, quoting contexts actually where his administration was given as an example for everybody. But in this situation, he is getting overwhelmed by the death of his friends. He starts to grieve about that like a materialistic man. So now we do see a lot of understandings between violence and non-violence. So the default understanding of a general community is that non-violence is always considered as a sattvic quality, where moral, it's considered as a moral value that everybody needs to cultivate. So we do teach children from childhood how it is to be. Non-violence is a big quality to be cultivated. That is in the civilized society I'm talking about. So, but in this situation we see the son of Dharma who has to fight, who is forced to become violent, and that is the Kshatriya Dharma. The same thing again in Arjuna's context. The entire Bhagavad Gita was preached because Arjuna wanted to take the side of non-violence. So Kshatriyas are always instructed not to take the side of dharma and not violence or non-violence. So they're supposed to discriminate based on what is right and wrong, and not necessarily discriminate whether violence or non-violence is superior. Because a lot of times violence may be required to establish dharma, and we see the same thing in the current society too. The police, sometimes they have to kill the wrong people, and soldiers, the military people, they have to fight battle in order to protect the civilians, but the state rewards that. So we see Prabhupada always quoting that the state rewards somebody, a soldier, who fights for the citizens. But on the other hand, if he's to kill somebody for his own sake, he kills a neighbor out of anger, then the same person is going to be punished. So it's not the act, but it's the intention behind the act that is always that is counted. And the same thing happens even in our deeds too. What we do doesn't matter, but what is the intention behind that is what matters. So, but Yudhishthira, for this moment, he forgot. He was able to fight the battle. At that time, he didn't feel he was doing wrong because he was following the line of dharma. But now, suddenly he is aggrieved, and now he is feeling overwhelmed. So, in so many situations, we hear this context in one of the European countries where Bhagavad Gita was actually opposed when Srila Prabhupada was trying to, when the Hare Krishna movement was spreading all across the globe. We hear a lady actually who opposed to Bhagavad Gita for the sake, there is this person called Krishna that they are worshipping who is promoting violence. So this person, Arjuna, doesn't want to fight, but Krishna keeps saying, you got to fight, you got to fight, you got to fight. So he's promoting violence is what is the understanding. So the understanding of violence and non-violence depends on the level of our consciousness. So for children, we always teach non-violence is good. But as they grow older, as our consciousness evolves, we have to understand what is the purpose behind it, what is the intention behind it, and then decide the rights and wrongs. So that is the first part where Yudhishthira is, he is thinking beyond his occupational duty of a Kshatriya, and he is getting overwhelmed by the death of his relatives. Now, why did this delusion come to him is the second aspect. So he was never deluded when he was fighting, but now he's deluded. He's grieving for something that he never thought about. So that's because he's a part of this entire Leela of Krishna. And so whenever the Lord descends, he brings his associates with him, and they behave in certain ways by his own will. And so these are all the people that participate in Krishna Leela. They're all either Nitya Siddhas or they're sadhakas in different levels, or they're different liberated souls at different levels. So they are beyond this bodily concept where they understand somebody as a body. So Prabhupada in the purport is saying a person who knows the truth, who knows the absolute, which was the very first thing Krishna talked about to Arjuna, that you are not this body but you are the spirit soul. So so Yudhishthira Maharaj, obviously at that time, he had this very good understanding that he was not killing anybody because the body, it's not the body, but it's the spirit soul. That's the actual person, and that's eternal. But now, because of the will of the Lord, he forgets that aspect. The same thing that happened to Arjuna. Arjuna forgot momentarily everything that he knew because it was the will of the Lord. So that in the Leela of when the Lord descends, when his Leelas, lot of such unusual things do happen, even to the liberated souls, because he wants them to participate in his Leela for various aspects, because there may be some messages that he wants to give for the rest of us, actually, who might use this in the future, just like how we are reading this. And so, in the future, this bewilderment of Yudhishthira Maharaj takes him to Bhishma Pitamaha's teachings. So, Bhishma, then, after this entire context, when Yudhishthira Maharaj goes to Bhishma, Bhishma is in his deathbed and he teaches a lot of things. So Bhishma's teachings are extremely, just like Bhagavad Gita, covers a lot of different dharmas. He talks about Varnashrama dharma, Moksha dharma, lot of different aspects. And then before he quits his body, and in order to prompt and facilitate that entire process, Yudhishthira Maharaj is becoming bewildered here. And then, this happens again by the will of the Lord. He is behaving now like a common man. So a common man, as we just saw, can get confused between violence and non-violence. Where to use violence and where to use the non-violence. It is the context that matters. It is the intention that matters. So, occupational duties for everybody is different based on what we see as the intention. So, rights or wrongs are to be decided not based on the same situation. We all go through different situations in life, and we all are given different roles. We don't have two people who look alike. Similarly, we don't have two people who have the same context. We may be appearing to be looking the same in our duties, but we all have different situations. We may have different situations in the same job. We may have different situations in the similar looking home, and we all may be grihasthas, having children. They all may be looking similar, but their all contexts are different. So, in order to understand what is our occupational duty, we do by practicing Krishna consciousness, we understand the better the rights and wrongs, our intelligence sharpens, then we will be able to understand this, and such delusions will not come to us. So, the other thing to understand is, these delusions has happened to great souls besides Arjuna too. If we see in Prahlad Maharaj, actually, Prahlad Maharaj's case, similar thing happens. He becomes deluded and very angry unusually. Prahlad Maharaj, as a child, he bore such a torture from his own father. He was never disturbed. But he becomes so disturbed when his brother is killed by the Yakshas. He fights the Yakshas in such a great battle with lot of anger, and until he gets instructed again, his grandfather Prachinvarya as well as Lord Vishnu, they have to come back to preach him. Again, why does this happen to somebody that was so advanced, that was in trance, when as a child, when Prahlad Maharaj went through so much of violent behavior from his own father, from a child wouldn't expect. He took it so calmly, he took it so well. But now as an adult, he gets angry in a similar situation, in a situation which was not as grave as that. Why does that happen? Again, the will of the Lord, all these great souls, Mahajanas and liberated souls, they behave in different ways. So with our intelligence, if we try to judge them, we always have to keep in mind that they are a part of various leelas here, and they are not the same as us. And we are here, we are Nitya Baddhas, we are conditioned souls, while they are liberated souls. So the actions of liberated souls may sometimes be very unusual because they are a part of the leelas of the Lord. So that is one take-home point. Now, so when so in this situation, he is feeling low, and then when he goes to Bhishma Pitamaha, when Bhishma Pitamaha starts to talk to him, so the entire Shanti Parva of Mahabharata talks about the teachings of Bhishma Pitamaha, and that is when Bhishma Pitamaha actually preaches to him Vishnu Sahasranama. He looks at Lord Krishna and then teaches him Vishnu Sahasranama, the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. And in the Palashruti of Vishnu Sahasranama, we see so many benefits from that. Especially again, all of these were preached for the sake of Kali Yuga, for our well-being in the people of Kali Yuga. So various different modalities have been given, and so he preaches this entire dharmas. And then when Yudhishthira Maharaj listens to this, he comes out of his grief, and he comes back just like Arjuna. He says that he's ready to do his duties back again. So in this situation, we have to understand, so we all may feel down so many times. So the context in our life also comes where, sometimes we understand the situations better, we are able to handle difficult situations well, but we also face situations where we cannot handle it as well. We feel low, we feel down. So how do we handle those situations? So every time we feel low, we feel down, we have to understand that it's a type of Maya. It's because when we are in contact with Krishna or the spirit, we will not feel anything but Satchidananda, which is the bliss, the eternity, and the bliss and eternity, and the knowledge. So when we are feeling low, it is always Maya that is attacking us. So we have to be conscious of this, and the next moment, what we could do is to get in touch with Krishna, come back to Krishna consciousness. And how do we do this? So there are so many modalities that Srila Prabhupada has given us. The ABCDs always is our to-go steps for every situation we are on. So taking association of devotees, and when we feel low, if we just listen to any lecture, even a small phrase from an acharya or guru, we will see that within moments actually our mind comes back actually from that low feeling. And if we are able to chant, we can chant a few rounds. Kirtan is extremely helpful to come out of a low feeling. And with the same context, when we do these things, the same context, the same situation, we are able to view it in a different way entirely. And then another thing we could do will be just to read a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita with the purport. We see that if we read a page during that time, we will be able to come out of our difficult situation. In the same context, our intelligence sharpens within no time, and we'll be able to see the same context. So if we do not have the ability to read anything and assimilate at that time, the easiest thing we can do will be Shravanam Kirtanam. Shravanam Kirtanam is given as the greatest modalities for us to be in Krishna consciousness, and that works no matter what situation we are in. And so it is recommended that we use Shravanam and Kirtanam no matter what we are doing. If we are doing a service, if we are doing, last week was the week of Harinam. All across the globe, there was the celebration where Kirtan, Harinam Sankirtan was highly encouraged, and we saw a lot of gurus and acharyas saying this, that you use Shravanam and Kirtanam during every service that you can do. If you are doing deity service, if you are cooking, no matter what you are doing, you use Shravanam and Kirtanam. So your consciousness will be tuned and aligned with the service you are doing. Otherwise, we could be doing some activity with our hands and our mind may be wandering. So in order to prevent that, if we listen to Kirtan during, and we'll listen and also sing along in Kirtan along with whatever service we are doing, it is said that, our consciousness will be more tuned towards Krishna consciousness. So these are some of the practical aspects that we can do when we feel low. Just like Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he felt low, now he is going to go to Bhishma Pitamaha and he is going to listen to a lot of lectures from him, and then he comes back. Same thing happened to Arjuna. The entire Bhagavad Gita, he was able to get out of his difficult situations, and whatever his mind was instructing him, he was able to come out of that. So we have Srimad Bhagavatam to guide us, and even in our occupational duties on a daily basis. So we may have the same, just like how, for somebody, in general public, we have non-violence is the moral code. However, for Kshatriyas, they are allowed to fight. Violence is their occupational duty. So we may be doing different occupations. Each of our contexts are different. Occupational duties may also refer to, not just our jobs, but also the roles we do at home. It may be in Grihasthashram, it may be in Brahmacharya, we may be a student. No matter what we do, there are different definitions given for our own context. So, in order to understand what is right for our context, if we are able to follow the ABCDs, Association of Devotees, Prabhupada books reading, chanting Shuddhanama, and following the diet and doing some practical service. By using all these, our consciousness will be tuned and we will be able to make the right decisions in our occupational duties too, and take home this message of Srimad Bhagavatam to our daily lives. Thank you so much for the opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Any questions, comments, corrections?
Thank you for the
I
class.
can listen. Beautiful.
Thank you for the class, Mataji class.
Thank you.